Ladies and gentlemen, I am just going to state the obvious. We have a doppelganger in our midst.
Hi, I'm Dawn of the World, and today I'll be shining a light on a very Sanji-centric number, filled as always with thrills and spills. Chapter 1034, Sanji vs. Queen. Much like how last week was a largely Zoro-focused chapter, this week is very much a Sanji-fronted endeavour, filled with answers, questions, and more questions. Each wing needs an equal amount of hype and momentum, or the Pirate King would be lopsided, and we don't want that. It'd be a bit sad. Aside from the Sanji focus, we opened the chapter with Osome, the girl who appeared to have been injured by Sanji a few chapters back, whose presence here is to fulfill the role later in the chapter of confirming, not so surprisingly, that Sanji was not the perpetrator. Oh gosh, she's here. Hey guys, check this out. Can you see her? This is what I'm working with now. Yeah, you're here. You're here now, aren't you? You're gonna like get in my way while I'm trying to record. Don't pee on that. Okay, you can make bread on it, but don't pee on it. The geisha also touch on escaping not just Onigashima, but also Wano itself. I'm not sure if or how that would happen, or even if these women have an important role after this chapter, whether their existence is just a means to an end for this particular faction of Sanji's character arc, or if they'll become more fleshed out characters later on. What's going on in here, hey? What's going on? Oda has set this up so that it could go either way. They could ascend to the bunk bed, they could go into the cat's ass. Who knows what's gonna happen. We then cut briefly to Momo as a means of reminding us that he is still out there existing, endlessly labouring away at keeping Onigashima afloat and not explosion. He seems to be holding Onigashima in place above the flower capital rather than forcing it back, the civilians still gleefully unsuspecting. And that's just the first 2 pages of the chapter, with the rest of the chapter, that chapter being aptly named Sanji vs. Queen, covering the battle between... you'll never guess who. She's playing with the Roger flag that Joy Girl gave me. At this point in the battle, I think Queen's gotten pretty frustrated. You see, Queen is a showman. He's all about the pizzazz, about the performance. He wanted this battle to go in a very particular way, a way in which Sanji plays along in a sense and dons the raid suit. Queen then has it all planned out that he defeats Sanji in his raid suit, thus setting an example. A message to Judge: Sanji has ruined this plan, however, by not playing along, by destroying the raid suit instead of equipping it. Queen's then like, alright, we have to do without the raid suit, but let's adapt, and continues to go about the battle plan minus the raid suit factor, which involves him invoking and performing very specific abilities, which is honestly just him copying the Vinsmox and adding his own name to the attacks. Queen, where is your originality? Well, I guess he must have used it all up on being a cyborg dinosaur fruit user and this thing. However, jokes aside, him having used these abilities comes across as more taunting than him being unoriginal. Queen is Sanji's first major opponent post Whole Cake Island. In fact, like his first really major opponent post time skip. And he has done nothing but remind Sanji of his family line and associate him with people with whom he wants no connection. This whole battle serves as yet another prevalence of what I think must be Oda's favourite trope, that being the sins of the father theme. In this case, Queen is taking his grudge with Judge out on Sanji for being his biological son, despite Sanji insisting he doesn't see Judge as a father and does not wish to be associated with the Vinsmox. Furthermore, Queen taking on the abilities of Sanji's brothers almost feels like Sanji has been forced to fight and confront not just Queen, but also his estranged family. Like, even now, after his past has already caught up with him, he just keeps being forced to confront it. So Queen is continuing to taunt Sanji about the family he wants no connection with, continuing to replicate the techniques and swinging Sanji around like a ragdoll. And Sanji doesn't love this. In fact, Sanji lashes out and Queen is shocked. Like, dude, do you also kick dogs and get surprised when they bite back? In all fairness, I think it's the fact Sanji was able to sever one of Queen's probably crazy strong cybernetic Doc Ock arms that has left him shocked like this. I just kind of want Frankie to go in there now like yoink and be able to study the armor. Ever since I found out Queen was a cyborg, I found it a little odd that there wasn't really any interaction between him and Frankie. You see, I have this headcanon that cyborgs can always tell when another person is a cyborg, even if they don't look like one. You know, like Gator, but with cyborgs. It is only a headcanon though. Anyway, this fight has been going on for a while. You can tell. It's usually hard to tell in manga, especially in the throes of a huge raid like this. Onigashima has been going on for a long time in general, and a lot has been happening simultaneously, so the passage of time is very hard to read. But the fact that it has been verbally referenced implies that the time is nigh for this fight to buy. But not before we fade out a little. So now not only has Queen, that unoriginal cyborg dinosaur of a man, copied each of Sanji's brother's techniques, he's now also copied Sanji's technique. We then get what I believe to be One Piece's first invisible reaction face from an invisible cyborg dinosaur. I guess if anyone out there was going to do it, it was going to be Queen. What a champ. Except for the fact it was he who attacked this woman the other chapter, so on champ, framing Sanji and now going in for another attack again while invisible. That's not very cool of you, Queen. What is cool is that Sanji did not hit this woman. Crises of identity and of self averted, though I have to wonder what does this mean for Sanji's state, since he clearly has changed through eyebrow placement and skin strength. He's been physically transformed like an awkward and late onset of second puberty. But what does this mean for the psychological side of things? When Sanji realized he was transforming a few chapters back, the first thing he was concerned about was his capacity to feel empathy, something that his brothers don't have anything of. Then, what we now know was actually an invisible cyborg Brachiosaurus swooped in and harmed Osome. Sanji's anxieties were heightened over the implications for his psychological state, and he quickly phoned a trusted friend to take him down if he were to lose himself. The fact that Sanji may not be losing his empathy here and now aside, this exchange from a few chapters back between he and Zoro planted a very interesting seed with the potential to grow and develop into an intriguing flora or vegetation of sorts. It put a topic of compelling potential on the table for the first time in over 24 years of One Piece, the potential of a very real Zoro versus Sanji battle, not a dumb scuffle or childish argument like normal, but an actual potential future battle, has been nodded to. And I don't even know if anything will come of this. It probably won't even be in Wano, should it do so, but the seed hath been planted, and a harvest may be due. So now, if or when it does happen, it's not gonna come out of nowhere, and I would love to see this. The character arcs of the wings of the Pirate King are very dependent on one another. Can you imagine a chapter titled Zoro versus Sanji? Zoro and Sanji are equal opposites in nearly every way possible, and their strengths and their weaknesses just gel together like a perfectly fitting puzzle. On one hand, this is the reason why they clash so much. On the other hand, it also makes them an unstoppable team when they do work together. Where one is lacking, the other is strong. This is seen right down to the physical appearances of the two. Post time skip, both of them have a single eye obscured, and that eye is the opposite of what the other has obscured or hidden. So when they work together, they can see everything, and all the possibilities are wide open. And they've had some really good moments recently of looking out for the other, of having the other's back. It would be so compelling to see these energies have to clash in a serious way, and how that would affect their individual character arcs, which rely so much on each other. Anyway, maybe that's more of a discussion for another time, but let's get back to the invisible dinosaur in the room. But not you. It was very satisfying to see Sanji coming to the conclusion that he may as well use Germa enhancements that are now part of him and apparently defeat Queen. But is Queen really defeated? I feel like he is, because for one thing, this X versus Y title in Onigashima usually denotes the chapter in which the enemy is defeated. For another thing, the whole Queen pulling out the Germa cards as his last act in this battle before Sanji then defeats him feels like some kind of closure, almost as though he's also defeating Germa as well as himself in a sense. I personally would have liked to have seen Sanji and Zoro's battles rejoin for the finish since they started together, but we can't have everything this world has to offer. So well done, Sanji, you did the thing, you beat the guy probably. Makes me think that Zoro defeating King is also imminent, although there's a bit more to unpack there with all the Lunarian business and all of that jazz. Anyway, do you guys think that Queen is dead as a dinosaur, or do you think he still has some bite left in him? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Dawn of the World, and I will see you next time. Later, guys.